ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Because we have a close-knit group here and under 100 people, I did design this to be a little bit more interactive and workshop style. So if you would like to sit kind of in groups of at least 5 to 7, I will be speaking, but there are parts that I want your input before I give you mine. So if you, it would be great if you have someone that has a pen and a paper. If not, it's not the end of the world. Your phones we take notes on, I know, in this day and age. So if you can kind of get in little groups so that you can talk to someone, even if it's 2 of you, it's fine. Someone you're comfortable with or someone you've never talked to before at the camp. So I just wanted to start off with thanking the organizers here for inviting me to speak. I know that, I feel it's really important for us to take time out of our lives, for us to sit down, do vichara, to sit down and share ideas with Sangat. And I need to tell you what I think, but it's also to learn from you what your thoughts and your perspectives on what I'm going to speak about today are. And so I really, really do encourage that we speak up, share your perspectives, share your ideas with those around you, with myself, so I can walk away with, even more wisdom imparted on me by the Sangat here. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself first. Okay. I know a lot of you in the Sangat. I've met you before. I was here at a camp in 2016 for Kaur's United, so a lot of the Bibi. My name is Gurminder, for those of you who do not know me. I'm from Surrey, initially from a small town in BC. And I'm a mother of 2. Right now, my career path, I've gone into education, and I'm a principal at a Khalsa secondary school, and the director of education of Khalsa schools of BC. But I came into education late in my life. I think it's a very honorable profession, and it's something that you do if you are really, really passionate. And I think it's a profession that allows me to go home every single night and feel that, not that I've made a difference, but that I walk away with something every single day. And that's why I feel it's important for me to come to camps, to share my ideas, to have your ideas, and I learn from everyone around me, my students every single day, my teachers, my staff, and so this is why I've come into it. Before that, I was a bureaucrat. I worked in the federal public service for 16 years, and I moved away from it and went back to school with 2 little young kids because I didn't feel like I was making a change. I came home every day, I had a great paycheck, but I didn't feel good about the work that I was doing. I felt it was just doing work, busy work to get money. And that at some point stopped fulfilling me. It stopped making me feel good about what I do every single day. So that's why I moved into education. I've always been involved in camps, youth education, Punjabi school at Gurdwara Sahibs for as long as I can remember. And this is something I've always been passionate about. So the camps inspired me. These kind of camps that have been happening for years inspired me to make a career change. I was like, I feel my best when I'm sharing knowledge and I'm gathering knowledge from my Sangat. So how can I do this better? I was in the BC public school system, and in this past year I moved into the private school system, specifically to the Khalsa schools, so I can share with my community my Sangat and build a Sangat throughout that. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm here, like I said, to learn, to discuss, to share. I would like to, I'm not going to pick on anybody, but I would like to get a few ideas. I know there's some families, Sangat here from BC, as to why you're here. I know it is to get Sangat, but what really inspired you? It's a dedication, and kudos to all of you that came out and took time out for this week to say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to learn, I'm going to further my Jivan. But I would love to hear from a few of you as to why you opted to be here and why this is something that's important to you and camps like this work for you. So I won't pick on you, but I'm hoping some of you will volunteer. And I know you're all less rested than me, so I'll give you a little bit of a break. I had a good night's sleep. So if anybody's willing to share it, why Camp Girpa? Yes?
So your question is, why are we here?
Yeah, why are you here? Why did you opt to be here?
Well, Ohio's the worst state in the United States, so any opportunity to go live.
Okay, all right.
And there's a lot of Kirpa here.
Okay, a lot of Kirpa here. Anybody else?
I just learned to Sikhi recently.
Okay.
By watching Basics of Sikhi
Yes.
by Bibi.
Yes.
And so I just thought this was a really good opportunity to learn Sikhi and learn Urdu. And if I have any doubts, then ask questions to get better.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, anybody else?
I've got to say, even though I'm not a camper.
No, but why are you here?
One thing I said this yesterday, but one thing I really like about this camp is there's a lot of Singariya, young Singariya that are leading everything.
Yeah.
Whereas majority that you see is always Saints
Yeah.
running camps. It's really good to see there's a lot of Singariya that take on all the forefront seva.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we should support more. So that's why even if they don't call me, I'm coming back next.
Yeah, thank you.
So I've been, recently going through this, journey inwards,
Yeah.
and really wanted to know what is the journey inwards.
Yeah.
Recognizing inside who am I, and not the outside world, but inside world.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because that's where it all starts, right? Is inside, and we pursue the things outside all of our lives, and you hit a point in your life, you're like, wait, what am I doing, right? So, no, for sure. Anybody else? Okay, I'm not going to put you on the spot too much, because I will ask for more participation a little bit later on. Well, actually, next slide here. I want to start off with a question for you. I want you to discuss in your groups for just 3-4 minutes. I want you to think about what will the world be like in 550 years? Okay? Now, yes, we can talk technologically, socially, societally, morally, ethically. What will it be like? What do you think it'll be like in 550 years? And in order to think about this question, look a little bit into our history, look at what's happening today around us, whether it's inside, whether it's outside, with ourselves, and try to predict. So take a couple of minutes amongst yourself, discuss, and I want to hear your ideas. Where do you think the world will be 550 years from now? Okay? So this is on you now.
Today, the events of global warming, I feel like they're going to be gone.
And I'm going to ask each group for their thoughts.
conflicts are more. So it will get reduced to a place that will be more harmonious. Because then only you can do. Technology will be then
We're gonna have to do global warming. We're gonna have to
Like neither is right or wrong.
We're talking about ourselves. We're talking about ourselves.
We're struggling with this. Do you think there's no role?
That's what I was thinking. I might not think that's called that. In our rituals, like these type of things, we really but still have it's interesting. We will see a difference in like
past behavior indicates future behavior.
So let's
will it be the same
bring it
amount-
back a little bit.
small amount of people?
I heard someone say, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. What do I know for 550 years from now? That's true, right? Okay. So some ideas. So I put up there, so society, technology, ethics, emotions, intellect, these are some of the things, but I want to hear from you. Maybe I know I've missed stuff. So what did you talk about? What do you think the world will be like 550 years from now? Yes?
So our group discussed the current climate change that's happening and how scientists in Australia predicted that by 2050, Earth won't be habitable if we don't start working to fix climate change, and how the wealthier people, they're getting wealthier while people in poverty are sinking further into poverty, and how ethics and morals are declining, and the wealthy class will save themselves as they're destroying the earth and leave everyone else to...
Okay. My husband said to me, when you ask this question, someone's going to say climate change and it's going to be ended in 550 years. He predicted that one. But no, okay, so the patterns that we're in, right, where we're going. Okay, other discussions that we had?
It's not really a discussion, but like idea has like scientifically, like imagine like if you look at Punjab, for example, morally and ethically,
Yeah.
like those the kind of places like the culture and their culture and like all the respect that everyone has, that place kind of dissipated.
Is disappearing.
And even Punjab is not even turned into Punjab anymore because like half its rivers that used to run through it is now gone and even dried up with like recent droughts and recent like heat waves.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of changes in our earth when it comes to climate, when it comes to, and you're focusing on Punjab, we hear about the rise in alcohol use, substance abuse, the dependence on these things. Yeah, so a lot of stuff, yeah. So what else did we talk about?
So we talked about the way of life, and we discussed that more we are going towards in future, the way of life will be more like a Sikhi way of life, because that's what people are turning to.
Okay.
Be it a vegetarian food or be it be in sync with nature. I think Sikhi will be even stronger. We feel that after 500 years, people will be more into it.
Okay, I love it. Positive energy. I love it. Okay. What else? What else did you talk about?
This is sort of parallel with what she was saying. We were just discussing the more rapidly technology is advancing. It seems like people
they're turning more to like self-care, like what do you call it, yoga.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about how we think Sikhs are going to have a bigger role in the future, because that's people are going to turn to us when they see, like not me personally, but like other people, like you know, that they're peace and at calm, and it's like how are they living life to be this way, you know?
Okay, they'll look at it as a way of life and preservation. This is sustainable, whereas what has been happening is not. Okay, so others, discussions, sings. Camp led by Bibi, but you know I need the sings to discuss too.
Okay, so you talked about like how the gap between mindset is changing. So the people that are Sikhi, like their Sikhi is getting stronger by the day. The people that aren't, they're going deeper and deeper into Kali.
Okay.
Yeah. So that gap is. Like
so the spectrums, right? Like if you're into Sikhi, it's getting stronger. And then if you're the other way, you see that it going the other way quite a bit too. There's a polarization kind of there. Okay. Any other discussions? That there was like a really engaged discussion happening in the back here.
Sure. We also talked a little bit about. There's mention about Asakivar and how it could also still apply then, because there's still maybe systems of an oppressor versus people are being oppressed. And we talked a little bit about there still might be a you versus us segregation in society, but maybe a little bit more improved. But the Bani kind of still might stand, obviously Guru Nanak's message.
Okay,
yeah.
So those patterns will still continue that are discussed in the Bani over and over again, that there will always be an oppressor, but Gurbani becomes more and more relevant. Okay, all right, anything else, anything different at all?
We were talking about how, for the first time in the history of humankind, this generation, or I should say the next generation, knows less than the previous generation did. And there's a study called, Is Google Making Us Stupid? Because we don't look at learning, we look at, this is readily information available, why do I need to keep it in my head? So we don't actually retain that information, and we just can look up whatever we want. And as anybody who's searched with Google, you find what you're looking for. Is cast iron cooking healthy? You'll find that. Is cast iron cooking unhealthy? You'll find that. So it depends on the questions.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how intellect is going down, so the disparity is going to increase again.
Okay, that's a really interesting. I was just having a discussion the other day with someone. How many of you use Google Maps? Right? I have a horrible sense of direction. I'm known that if my instinct is telling me to go left, we should go right. It actually works the exact opposite. Okay? So Google Maps, think about it. Before we used to have to read maps, we saw the place in relation to all these other places. You plug in Google Maps, you put it on, you've got your magnetic on your vent, and you follow the directions. Are you paying attention to where you're going? No, you're just listening to where to go. And so all that engagement of figuring out directions, that intellect, knowing your surroundings, we're kind of losing it, right? We know how to get from point A to point B, and if we're asked to get from that point A to point B again, without Google Maps, we probably couldn't do it, right? Especially if it's unfamiliar surroundings. So I agree, so that intellect, right? Application, we're looking for answers and we are getting them, but the process of getting those answers, right? It used to be that we used to sit around, and some of you are young for this, I know, I'm aging myself here, but we actually used to have arguments about sports statistics and, and who this actor was or who played that role or when this happened in history. We used to have arguments about it. And now someone asks a question, we're like, oh, hey, wait, let me pull out my phone, right? And it kills the conversation right there. There's no discussion, right? Oh, look, I looked it up. It's right here. And we're turning to Google for more and more. And not just Google, like everything, technology in our hands, right? So the intellect. So that process of having a problem and thinking it out, and the impact of that on our next generation. So that's a really, really good point. We laugh about it, but what is the result? What are the results going to be of that in the future?
What you said reminded me. I was talking to someone else in the longer hall, but I need to ask so-and-so for their hotspot so I can text my mom because my phone doesn't work. And they were like, how do you, your phone doesn't work, or how do
So our reliance, right? And not that I'm not like a technology naysayer. Okay, I rely on technology a lot. I'm not great at it, but I believe that there's really great things that are happening with technology. But I also realize the impact on intellect. I'm in a high school every single day. I see my students walking around, heads down, on their phones like this, all day. And God help us if the internet goes down, the Wi-Fi goes down for a day. It's a panic mode in that school, right? I'm gonna mess with them next year and just turn it off every once in a while and see what happens. Okay, good discussion. Now, the next thing I want you to consider, and I'm not going to put you into groups for this because I do want to move on. I want us to think about this. We've talked about what it might be in 550 years, where trends are going. No one said flying cars. That was another one I predicted. Okay, but what do you think are things that cannot be changed about us? Do you think that there are things that are inevitable about human nature? Inside. Now I want you to look inside, right? So 550 years from now, 500 years from now, humans, what will not be different about them, if anything? Right? Maybe you think, yeah, no, human nature evolves, it changes, but what will not be different about them? So just think about that. Yes?
Longing to learn.
Okay, a longing to learn. I need to get to know you. I need this more positivity in my life. Yes? To be nurturing.
Community. I think that even when, if we have, like, in our group, someone that did virtual camps, so I think we'll always want to be around other people. We'll always want some that community. I don't think that'll ever change.
That'll ever, okay. So we need that. Okay? You had your hand up? No? Okay, sorry.
I think the pontoon will always be there.
The panchor will always be there. What are panchor? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Ahankar, right? Will always be there. Gurbani tells us. Right? We'll talk about that today. What else?
Our ego.
Our ego, so that, yeah, that on God, but it'll drive us, it'll continue to drive us to make those decisions. Yeah? What else? Striving to find a purpose. And more so, right? I think we'll turn to that more and more so. When someone said to me when I was applying for universities, they said, don't become too set on what you're going to pick. An average human changes their career 2 to 3 times in a year, in a lifetime. And I thought, I'm never going to change my career. And and here I am telling you how I changed my career. And maybe we'll do again. I'm not sure. But why? Because I was striving to find a purpose. And more so as we become disconnected because of the advancements around us. What else? What's similar to what is today to what was similar 550 years ago? That's another way to think about it instead of the future. What was similar in human nature 550 years ago? Love. Okay? Yeah. Well, Mo's different. Mo is like an attachment, right? But yeah, but a part of the good part of it, right? The love. Yeah. Anything else?
Conflict.
Conflict. Yes. History of conflict.
Building on this point about love, I think as a community, that's something that won't change, and because it's something we've always needed in the past. It's always been needed things that help each other.
Yeah, okay, so helping each other, okay. We'll have that desire. Okay, so there's things that we think are inherent in human nature when we look in the past, and we think they'll continue on into the future, right? So humans essentially, when it comes down to it, the reason I said I needed to get with the more positive people because I looked at human nature the other way. I had some thoughts. So you know your discussion. Feelings of superiority, right? Feeling that, especially if you have power, any kind of power, Whether it's, you're elected into power, you're made in charge of something, that feeling of superiority, actions out of fear. Bibi talked about conflict. A lot of the conflict we're seeing in the world now is a reaction to fear, right? So when we see in Quebec that the ban on our religious symbols, whether it's the stad, hijab, niqab, whatever it might be, that's out of fear. It's all driving. What's happening in the United States is out of fear. It's happening in Canada too. Let's not kid ourselves, right? It's all out of fear. Difficulty change opinions, thoughts, and actions. Those of you who said you're here to look inside to get that sangat, you're striving for a change. You're looking for a different perspective. But the challenge is going to be is when you leave here and changing your opinions or your lifestyle or your actions or your decision making. That's the difficult part, right? That will always exist. Our reluctance to admit weaknesses, faults, wrongs. When someone comes to us and says, oh, maybe you should have done it this way. What's your first gut reaction? Not like the one you say, if you learn to kind of culture yourself and not say the first thing that comes out of your mouth, but your first gut is defense, right? Reliance on things to feel better. On things. And we'll talk more about this. The belief that our problems are unique. I've gone through stuff that nobody else has gone through. My friends, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, doesn't matter what language, what country, it all stems from the same issues. They're all the same problems, stemming from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Ankar. The relationship problems, the problems with money, the problems, nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing. I used to think my problems were completely unique. And talking to people, going into Sangat. And that doesn't mean that they're insignificant. That doesn't mean your challenges are insignificant, that it's not an issue. It doesn't mean that. I'm not meaning to belittle it. I'm just saying that, सारे सोचते हैं कि जो मेरी इस वेले हालत है वो किसी दी हो ही नहीं सकती इन्नी माड़ी मेरी गल है मैनू प्रॉब्लम आ गई है किसी ने एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं कीती अगे and that's not true, right? That also means there's a lot of support out there. See, I'm trying to get the positivity, right? A lot of support out there. But we have this belief, we're all walking around talking to our friends, to our family, thinking, oh, this is unique to me. No, it's not. Right? But we all, that's what drives our decision making. You can't understand what I'm going through. You cannot understand it. So you don't understand the decisions I made, so I'm right. Right? And our focus on self. Whether it's positive or negative. We're always that, desire to ourselves, who we are. So that's always going to be there. Does anybody know why I said 550 years? Guru Nanak Dev Ji, right? It's been 550 years since that Jyot that is now embodied in our Pavan Guru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, came onto this earth. Right? And, we, in our household, we celebrate birthdays and we celebrate anniversaries. And in Sikhi, we're supposed to be like this when it comes to our emotions, right? All the time. So we're always in Chardi Kala. We are never, up and down, like the ideal. But we celebrate these anniversaries. And when it comes to things like Khalsa Sajna Divas or Vaisakhi celebrations, Hola Mahalla, whatever. And we all feel that excitement around the celebrations around us. These anniversaries, I believe, are a time to reflect. They're a time for us to look in the past. Why did it happen? Why did Guru Sahib come into this earth? Why did that Jyot come onto this earth? and where are we taking it into the future? And so that's what today is going to be about. I was asked to speak about, Guru Sahib being sada, eternal, eternally relevant. And it almost seems a little bit blasphemous to ask the question, is Guru Sahib, is it Guru Sahib eternally relevant? But it's a reminder. It's a reminder to us. How so? So that's what I want to center it around today. And I hear it all the time. It seems blasphemous, but I hear it all the time. Times are different now. I hear it from parents of my students, parents outside that I meet at camps. I hear it from students themselves. You don't understand. You don't understand what we're going through. You're saying to people that they should wear their kakaj. You're saying this, you're saying that, but you don't understand how difficult it is. Times are different now when they were Guru Sahib's times. Really? There was conflict during Guru Sahib's times. There was family problems during Guru Sahib's times. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's 2 sons wanted the Gurgati, wanted the power. Is that happening today? Yeah. Right? What our gurus went through, is that happening today? Exact same things are happening. Having it difficult to wear a kakaj, to wear the stars. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji gave his life. Right? And why did Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji give his life? For issues that we are facing today. The right to practice our religion, to right to wear our kirpans, our dastars, our janeus, whatever it might be. Is that happening today? Yes, it is. Right? So we're going to talk about this a little bit more. And we talked about, so the way I'm going to talk about it, I've divided it up into 5 sections. This is what I think are consistency in human nature. So Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, someone brought it up here, definitely always there. The Panchor are always there. We're always battling against them. They are the drivers to these things. I could stand here all day and talk about Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Ahankar and the impact on our lives and how we fight them. But I wanted to bring it into themes that you see every day. So the things that we talked about in human nature lead to the lack of equality. Okay? They lead to reliance on things for happiness, and not just material things. We're going to talk about that a little bit more too. They lead to the pursuit of beauty. I really did want to talk about that, and I'll get into that a little bit more. They lead to a disregard for consequences. Whether it's the climate, whether it's how we're dealing with others, our interactions with others. Thinking about what consequences our actions have. We disregard those many times as humans. Forgetting we're mortal. Gurbani reminds us, I've tried to pull Gurbani references for each one of these. This is throughout every single ang in Guru Granth Sahib. Where in some way Guru Sahib is telling us, hey, mere human, you're not here forever. Constant. And that's supposed to be our driver, but that's not our driver. And that one is just kind of wrapping it up. So I do want to focus on those a little bit. So I'm going to start off with the lack of equality. So I want you to look at these. There's 2 types. And so I would just, again, 2 minutes, and I want to hear your thoughts first before I give you my thoughts. I want you to consider in society, and it might seem like an easy answer, but I do want to hear, it's not just, men aren't equal to women or women are equal to men. A little bit deeper than that. In society, are we all equal? And what does equal mean? Does it mean having the exact same rights, or what does it mean? So are we equal? as far as you can think back in history, can you give me examples of where equality was practiced? Not like worldwide, because that would be such kind. We're not there yet, right? But where was examples of it? What causes inequality? And then within ourselves. Always the focus in ourselves. Have you ever had the thought that you are better than others? Okay? Do you think you deserve more than someone else? And this is really, and the answer, is no, I don't think. But think back. At some point in our lives, even today, we catch ourselves, I deserve more than this person because, and we always try to justify it, right? So how so? So take a couple minutes, either you can self-reflect or you can talk in your groups. I want to hear your ideas on some of these questions here. And I'm going to start with the sing side this time. And if you want to stand while you're doing it, that's fine too. I'm a big believer in movement.
Start with the definition of it.
I think like he said another point
We're not born equal.
Everyone is different.
Social status,
Class.
But the thing is, the culture says we are actually born equal, but the thing is, then inequality is created.
Inequality is created.
Because when you leave this world, God doesn't ask you what caste you are, right? Nobody does, right? But it's so ingrained. I know my mother-in-law, she just came from India, right? And the first thing, like my mother-in-law, she didn't have anything, right? She was like really poor, right? And first thing she will talk about is caste. First, this person was this caste, this person was this caste, right? And it's just to make herself higher, because that's what she can hold on to. But even, you know.
So what, the next question is, what causes inequality?
I think personally, from a Sikh perspective, I think it's our past karmas that causes inequalities. What?
People want
Oh,
feel
better, rule over the others. I am better.
They don't want to lose that or not.
And that's why, and that is competition. This society is competition. Whoever want to win the race, you should be first. If you want to win, you should be first. Competitive. So then,
Individualistic rather than collective, like we can all.
So that is the main reason. Like,
From a spiritual aspect, I think there's two aspects. Either we created, and I think certain inequalities, like I think
that falls in with how you're born, right? You can be born with physical limitations. Yeah. That is. Well, it's interesting. I just like those two words involved. Can we actually reach equal? And if we start from the base, probably not. Like, can we bring equity to society where we each have an equal
Okay, just bringing it back now. Wrap up your last thoughts. Okay, any one of these questions. I'm not going to start off with inside society, within yourselves. Well, what did you talk about? I'm going to start on the same side, not because I'm ignoring you, because I want them to participate more. Yes?
Well, it depends on what you define equality as.
Okay.
Sometimes, like you just explaining that Maharaj, some Jalo Hukam which he can make someone a Maharaj,
Yeah?
he can make someone a pauper.
Yes.
In our eyes, that's like, oh, Maharaj kithi hunda hai, pauper
Yeah.
kithi hunda hai, inequality. But in reality, Maharaj Hukam hai sabko. It's Maharaj's Hukam. So technically, equally he's giving everyone a Hukam. So is it equality or is it inequality? I don't know.
Okay, you know what? That was really deep. That's good. Okay.
Adding on to that, it's like whenever you have the Hukam Lemma, the Sangat where boys and girls, so there's no inequality when the Hukam is very.
When the hukam is for, okay, so when we get a hukam from Guru Sahib, it applies to us all equally. Okay, awesome. Idea where inequality does not exist. So Guru Sahib, Gurbani, Guru's hukam applies to us all. Okay, so other ideas. I'll open it up. Yes.
Building on the Guru's Hukam applies to everyone, there's no rahit specifically for Bibian or for Singh. There's no rahit dress code specifically for one.
For one, okay, it's all Khalsa. Okay, other ideas? What about within ourselves? Discussions that you had, or anything else? What did you talk about when it came to inequality?
So when we were talking with Pradeep, we were talking of, yes, it does come in our mind because of some actions where we think, I'm more caring than that person.
Yes.
Even your good qualities can make you sometimes think,
Yeah.
I'm better than that person.
For sure.
I'm more humble, I'm more caring, I'm better than, it does come in your mind. It should not come, but it does come.
Yeah.
Because of, the thoughts and the feelings that, better than that person has.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're human and it comes, but I just wanted us to recognize that is also, that is inequality. Putting yourself in your mind higher than someone else. Okay? I heard about some people saying, there's inequalities within the Panth. I don't know what it was, but sometimes it's okay. What was that thought? Okay.
We were just talking about Sangat.
Okay.
We can't see Sangat as all equal.
Yeah.
But then what we were saying was what can cause the inequality is someone thinking that they're more righteous than someone else.
Yeah.
And so it's sad to have to say, but sometimes those things come into Sangat as well where we wouldn't expect it.
For sure. Okay. Does it happen within our Panth? Do we think, when it comes to Jathebandis?
No.
Right? So even within us, right? Is it okay for inequality to exist?
It depends. What is the inequality? Say inequality of opportunity. No, but sometimes there's inequality in result, and that inequality in result doesn't always mean there was inequality in opportunity.
Okay.
I feel like if the righteousness overweighs the inequality, I mean, like you can have 100 bad people on this side and one good person on this side. Doesn't mean like these people are better, right? Because there's more of them. There's a greater.
Okay, so it doesn't come in quantity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So other ideas around this at all?
This is a nature designed for like improvement of the as a wholeness of the life.
Yeah. Okay.
See, not everybody is created equal, like from what I'm comparing.
Okay.
You said we all are created differently, and I think that was the beauty of life. It should not create, homemade or but we are all different.
Theoretically, okay. So is it that not everybody is created equal, or is it that not everybody is created the same? I don't know. Like I'm asking you, right? Because we all have Jot and like Guru Sahib inside of us, right? Every creature, every being on this earth, right? So it's just something to think about. I'm not putting you on the spot.
How you shape yourself, yeah, we are all created equal, but how we create our life,
okay.
It's
Yeah.
we created different.
For sure.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
It's also the past karma that we come into this life that affects
Yeah, our past karma affect our future, they affect the opportunities we have, they affect everything, right? And I kind of, and what I draw it parallel is to this. And I'm sorry, I have a lot of school examples because that's where I spend a lot of my time. When you apply for university here in Canada, when you get accepted into the university, you register for courses. I was just explaining this to someone the other day. You register for courses and you get a registration date. Those registration dates are given based on your GPA in high school. Okay? So if you have a higher GPA, your registration date is earlier. This gives you access to the better courses. Right? So now it's already created. You have more opportunity because you did better in your past, right? And you've already you go into this institution with more opportunity now because you got into your biology labs, or you got into your history sessions with that desired professor who everybody wants because you had a higher GPA. And that's kind of like our garam, right? We have these great garam, and we come into the world, and whatever it might be, and we keep it going, and we keep doing it bhakti, and it just builds on itself, right? And so that's why every moment matters. That's like when you're studying, every course matters. Kids say to me, it's just an elective, and I say, well, sometimes universities look at those electives. That elective is going to give you a bump up if you're tied with someone for your core courses, right? Everything matters. And so that's, those are your garam. It's a similarity. And we've already come in with this type of inequality. We all have the opportunity to overcome it. Right? We do. And it exists, and I just want us to acknowledge, it exists within our homes. Okay, no matter what we try to do, not do, it exists within our homes. And sometimes I'm not going to say it's okay. It's not that, if you have assigned roles at home, and I'm going to now talk about a Jivan, like marriage, right? You have assigned roles at home, and one partner is the one who takes a bigger role with the kids, but the other one takes a bigger role somewhere here. Equality doesn't mean everything has to be 50-50, right? It doesn't mean that I wash the dishes, this many times, and my husband must wash the dishes this many times. See, I pick dishes, right? So that it doesn't mean that. It means that we're all contributing equally in all our areas of responsibility. Even spiritually. You're in most partnerships, you're going to have one partner who's going to be the driving force, who's going to be that morning person. Right? When the alarm goes off, they're going to be out of bed. And they're going to be the ones up early getting the other one out. Right? But that's Sangha. That's why Guru Sahib wants us to live in that Jivan and gives, that Uttam to Gur's Jivan, is because you need someone to pull you through life and get you on that path. And everybody goes ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes you're great, and sometimes because of things happening in your life, you're not. And your other person's there to pick you up. So equality is not always 50-50. I just wanted to point that out. It doesn't mean doing exact same things all the time. It means that you're all as a family unit, let's move to a family unit for those of you who aren't married, supporting, contributing. Right? I got a ride from the airport today from Sukhmakar. She's telling me, I don't do this too much, so I help out with the kids. That everybody, doing their part, whatever it might be. Within our governments, we know that. We know that. It exists within, and don't think any government, within our Gurdwara governments, local governments, state, provincial governments, federal governments, it exists within any power structure, right? And that's opportunity. That's access, and who has access to it. It exists within all our relationships. If you've been friends with someone, at times you've thought you're better than that friend or not better than that friend. Within society. And the why is there. It's how we're designed. It's how we're built. It's overcoming that and recognizing the inequality that's important. Right? Knowing that even though someone else might have a leg up on you, because of better karam or a better GPA, whatever it might be, that we all should have the same opportunities, which Guru Sahib does give us and links back to, the hukam applies to all of us, right? Within our own minds, we don't see everybody as equal. And that, again, comes from the homme, the hankar. It comes from the moh, the attachments around us. So there's this huge rise right now when it comes to equalizing movements. So can someone give me examples of movements in society that are really focusing, just in society in general, that are focusing on equal rights, equal opportunities? Any examples? LGBTQ community, yeah. Okay, what else? Okay, gender gap. What are some movements associated with that?
For me, I would see always a Nagar Hall, which was always there, even now, and Guru Sahib started it with that, where, it was started to
create equality, yeah.
Create that, and it's still there, and I always see that's every form of example for me where there is
no, yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, other movements. That's a type of movement. You're right, the Pangat. Okay, what else? Sorry? Feminism. Okay, feminist movements, such as, there's so many out there. And so society, and we have, the recognition of Indigenous rights in Canada. Right? And what did our history have? Suppression, oppression of minorities. It's still there. It's entrenched within our institutions. And trying to change those institutions, trying to recognize, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's Aboriginal rights, whether it's religious minorities, whatever it might be. Right? Society is now telling us it's not okay taking down statues of John A. Macdonald. Right? First Prime Minister of Canada. Who heard about that? Okay, read the news, guys. Always read the news, okay? Why? Why are we taking it down? Because there's a movement out there saying this is the person who entrenched in our government, right, racism against Indigenous people. And so we are not going to recognize this person as being great. We're not going to, put him in history as this great being. So we're not going to have statues built of him. Some people agree, some people disagree. I'm just giving you examples in society, right? But our Guru Sahibs talked about equality hundreds and hundreds of years ago. This is a shout by Guru Ram Das Ji. Har har jas gaya, param pad paya, te uttam jan pradhan jiyo. Tin ham charan srevai, khin khin pag tovai, jin har meet lagan jiyo. Har meetha laya, param sukh paya, mukh bhaga rati chare. गुरमत हर गाया हर हार उर पाया हर नामा कंठ तारे सब एक दृष्ट समत कर देखा सब आत्म राम पशान जियो हर हर जस गाया परम पद पाया ते उत्तम जन प्रदान जियो. So this Shabad here, those of you that can't read the translations, I'm sorry they're small, I should have made them bigger. The ones that praise Guru Sahib have their mind with Guru Sahib, with the love of Vaheguru. Those people gaze upon all with equality. And that's why I've put the main talk, I've put sab ek drish samat kar dekha sab atam ram pashan jiyo. They look upon all with equality. We were given the answer by Guru Ram Das Ji hundreds of years ago. Before any of these movements, our gurus, and in history, our gurus were amongst some of the first ones to be activists, to stand up for other religions. And someone says to me, I get asked this question all the time, that there's metaphors in Gurbani that talk about, Muslims do this and Hindus do this, and, isn't that Guru's looking down on, other religions? And no, that's about your inner state of being, the rituals amongst it. You don't think there were, great Muslims and Hindus that were, live lagi sagi with the one being. Guru Sahibs had respect and taught us to respect. So we got these answers already. So when we talk about relevance, what tells us is that equality starts within us. Simple as that. It's very complicated, but really simple. I know that doesn't make sense, but I hope you get what I'm saying. Right? We have to have the avastha, the kamai, the state of mind to look upon others as being equal. Imagine a world. Just close your eyes for 15 seconds and imagine a world where everybody has this avastha. It's amazing, right? So that's something that we need to think about. And I'm not going to ask you these questions, but how relevant is that to us today? Right? Will this be relevant 550 years from now? What do you think? It's always going to be within us. So the next thing I want to talk about is reliance on things for happiness. Okay, what do we rely on for happiness? Quickly. What do we rely on for happiness? Our friends, yes. Sorry? Technology, rely on technology for happiness. Millennial answer right there. Okay, what else? What else do we rely on for happiness? Sports. Family. What else? Money. Sangat. Good. The good stuff too. Right? What else do we rely on for happiness? Good food. My kind of friend. Okay? Right? We rely on all these things for happiness. Some of the things that we see that Guru Sahib writes about, substances such as alcohol, vaping, is the big one that I see these days. Smoking, pot, anything that alters our state of mind, right? Material items. How many of you ever said, man, such a bad day, let's go shopping, right? Things, it makes us that adrenaline. Scientists have actually said the endorphins that get released when you purchase something. There's actually endorphins that can release that make you happy, right? Friends. Someone said that. Validation, the likes on social media. Right? Instagram's done this new thing where you can't see how many likes someone else got, correct? They're trying it out in Canada right now. It's driving some people crazy. Okay? Right? Moving up in life is considered being able to buy more stuff. I was here. Right? My goal in high school was to get out of high school, get an education, get a job, get a house, get a car, get married, have kids. And then it all happened. I was like, well, what do I do now? Where am I going now? And that's when I started looking within myself, right? It's like we're chasing these things. Anything that allows us to escape reality. And I'm not saying that, we're all doing pot or vaping or whatnot, but these are things. Whether it's having a conversation with friends, whether it's having a spa day, whatever it might be, anything that helps us escape reality makes us happy. This is the things that we desire. And what's society telling us now? Okay, I had to put Marie Kondo in there. How many of you heard of Marie Kondo? Okay, yes, it's a big movement right now. Minimalist, kind of not a minimalist. Don't keep things that don't spark joy. Our Goodwill's stores have seen more goods since this Marie Kondo's come along because people are all emptying out their houses right now of stuff, okay? Rise in teen suicide connected to social media popularity, right? People looking at others' lives and thinking they have these perfect lives. Someone once came to me and said, you know, how do you do it? Your kids are always happy. And I was like, my kids are not always happy. And I started to realize, why does this person think this? Well, it was what I was putting up on social media. So every once now I put a, the video of my daughter having a temper tantrum, right? Because life is hard with kids. Nobody has it easy, right? And teens do this, compare their lives to others all the time. 7 reasons why spending money on experiences makes us happier than buying stuff. That's society telling us. We're all moving towards that. The benefits of minimalism, how giving makes us happy, right? Being warned of risks for vaping, smoking, alcohol. So many people who are abstaining from it now. And, Guru Sahib, I can give these shabds afterwards. I'm not going to read them all out. There's a line in this shabad that this whole shabd talks about painted mansions with beautiful doors and us being empty without love and only Guru Sahib's name, Lord's name being pure wealth, Vaheguru's name being pure wealth. And it talks about how the self-willed Manmukh looks upon his daughters, sons, and relatives as his own, looks on his wife, he's pleased, but along with happiness, they bring grief. Even your family. All these things will also bring us grief. The only thing that will not bring us grief is meditation on that Nam. We were told this, society is telling us this now. Guru Sahib told us this already. On friendships. This is one of my favorite shabds down here. Har ek se it's by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Har ek se naal mein dosti, har ek se naal mein rang, har ek ko mera sajjano, har ek se naal mein sang. My friendship is with one Lord alone. I'm not saying leave here and leave all your friends. Sangat is an amazing thing, but know that this is your only true friendship. Right? Koi jaane kavan iha jagmeet. Does anybody know who's our friend in this world? And the amazing thing about this is a hukamnama that comes. And any time that when I was younger and I would be having an argument with a friend, or I would feel like I was betrayed by a friend, I would always get this hukam. Right? Your only true friend in this world is Guru Sahib, is the Lord. I'm like, all right, got it. And I'm just gonna park that. Right? So these are things all relevant, all told to us before. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one here. I really wanted to talk about this, the pursuit of beauty, because there's this huge movement out there towards beauty. Okay, how do we define beauty? Quickly, if you could tell me, how do you define beauty? How does society define beauty? How about I don't make it personal? How does society define beauty? Looks? Okay, I grew up wanting to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed. Don't tell me, okay? Because that's all I saw around me. Until I realized that that was not the norm, that it was okay for us all to be different. Okay, so it's not just me. So what do we define as beauty?
Fashion.
Okay, fashion.
Good looks.
With looks, right? How many of you feel here, let me ask a general question, how many of you feel here that if you have the societal standards of good looks, that you have more opportunities in the world? Societal opportunities in the world. Okay. Okay, so when you want to play professional sports, you have a certain physique, you need to be a certain way. We're breaking these barriers all the time. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that we're any less qualified as Sikhs with our Bana, Chola, whatever, to have these opportunities. But society tells us we are. Right? Right? This is a battle. And I'm not going to make you answer this question, but I've talked to so many Singaniya, so many Bibiya, so many women, and even the Singhs here, who feel that if they are not, everybody says that they're not looking for beauty, they're looking for something on the inside. But when it comes time for marriage or for whatever, that factors in. It doesn't matter what someone says. And so I'm going to put it out there, even to our Singhs, that there are Bibiyan that feel that way. That there's certain expectations, that there's certain things that are expected. And that puts pressure on our Bibiyan. And it doesn't make them feel good about themselves. And I'm not putting you all on the spot, right? But just as general, it doesn't make them feel good about themselves. And it's not just put on by Singhs, it's put on by families, it's put on by own mothers, it's put on by puas, masis, everybody. Right? Women too. But it results in a lack of confidence. And so now, society is pushing back against these things, right? Don't value your body over your being. There's a huge body positive awareness campaign going on. And what did Guru Sahib say to us? Say sundar sohne, sad sang jin behne. They alone are beautiful and attractive who abide in the sad sangat, the company of the holy. Simple as that. We are all brides of our Vaheguru. And that's what is attractive to Vaheguru. So we were given this answer hundreds of years ago. And then there's a Shabd by Guru Nanak Dev Ji in Sri Rag, Tan Jovan Arfulada Narthariya Dinchar. So the wealth, the beauty of youth, the flowers are guests only for a few days. Our beauty fades. We don't take it with us. But I can say these things, but I know they're hard. I know it's hard. But we're talking about the relevance of Guru's words. And you think this is going to apply 550 years from now? What do you all think? Yeah. Maybe more so. And how does Guru Sahib's definition make us feel? This is what I think. You can tell me if you think different. Loved. A standard that's attainable. I can be in Sangat. Beautiful. Confident. All the movements that speak to encouraging us, whether they're body positive movements, whatever it might be. Even for males, even for guys now, right? There's expectations. It's not just for women. These movements are working towards accepting ourselves. Guruji did this 550 years ago. We are beautiful in the roop that Guru Sahib gave us. The final one I want to talk about is disregard for consequences of our actions. So, I just quickly want to ask you, what are some ways that we ignore the consequences of our actions? What are some ways that we ignore the consequences of our actions, you think?
Saying something hurtful, maybe it's in crowd or you think it's funny, but I think even me, it's something, like saying something hurtful without thinking about it.
Okay, humor at someone else's expense is a great thing, right? Where you think it's funny and it's hurt someone, we don't think about it. Other ways.
Short-sightedness, like we just see now what we...
We just see now, we don't look beyond that. Okay? What are some other ways?
When it's not brought to our attention, for example, we'll just think about the consequences. If it's brought to we won't think about the consequence. If somebody doesn't bring it up, and then you think it was normal or it was fine, even
Yeah.
if it may not.
We don't reflect, right? Unless we're put in the position to reflect. Anybody else?
We blame things on other people to legitimize our bad actions.
Yeah. We blame others to legitimize our bad actions.
Sometimes we take science, as
Yes.
as a backup. I'm doing that because science is telling me to do that.
Yeah.
So that I can justify myself.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many different ways. I thought of some ways that I picked where I could find relevance in good body. Eating meat. It talks about, Guru Sahib talks about the consequences on our spiritual health when it comes to this. Alcohol, tobacco, health consequences, departure from Vaheguru, right? Non-simple food, again, health consequences. Speaking harshly or negatively to and or about others, constant gossip. This list goes on and on. Not thinking about the impact of our environment. And now, what is society telling us? Society is telling us, how many of you have heard of Beyond Meat? Okay, how many of you have tried Beyond Meat? Okay, all right. What was the movement behind Beyond Meat? It wasn't a market for vegans. What was the movement behind it? Does anybody know? It actually was not. Okay? Environmental sustainability. It's actually marketed to meat eaters. It's made so meat eaters will eat this, so because our carbon footprint on the world is so huge because of the meat we consume as a society that this is being developed as a sustainable alternative for meat eaters. Would we be in this position today if we followed Guru Sahib's words? Probably not. Okay. Junk food ban in Canadian schools is working. Right? Processed foods. Change your diet to combat climate change in 2019. Be kind. We have to have a pink shirt day across Canada to remind people to be kind to one another. Right? To not hurt others. And that's a simple message. Be kind. Just think about that for a second. I mean, I'm a big advocate of Pink Shirt Day. I wear my pink, head to toe. But just think about that for a second. We have to have a day as humans to remind each other to be kind. To think about the consequences of our actions. Like, really? But we do. That's where we are today. Health effects of cigarette smoking, of alcohol, of vaping, of pot. Vaping, not as much. There's teens out there, and I really encourage the parents in this room and those of you who have siblings who are especially at the high school age, they strongly believe that vaping has no harm to it. I talk to kids aged 11 to 18. What am I doing wrong? There's nothing, I'm not getting high off of it. You're putting chemicals in your body. You have no idea what effect of those chemicals are. Sometimes it's nicotine, right? Sometimes it's the oil, the marijuana, forget it, I always forget the acronym, right? And we need science to tell us that it's harmful. And what were we told? Bhagat Kabirji told us, this is about gossip. Nindo nindo moko log nindo, ninda jan ki jan ko khari pyari, ninda baap, ninda mehtari. Ninda is slander, talking bad about someone. Right? Slander me. That's what feeds me. That's what moves me forward. That's what propels me. You do ninda, you go and do Simran for 2.5 hours, go do ninda for 2 minutes, you've just given all your Simran to that other person. You're kamai. By Gurdas Ji, the end line here, the 3 vices of looking at other wives, keeping an eye on others' wealth, and slander. They inhabit a mind like a chronic disease. Alcohol, tobacco, Kabir Pang, Machli, Surapan, Jojo Prani Khaye, Tirth Vart Ad Naam Kiye, Te Sabe Rasatal Jaye. Those who consume marijuana, fish, wine, spirits, alcohol, anything with alcohol, no matter what pilgrimages, fasts, and rituals they follow, they will all go to hell. Right? We didn't need the scientific research. I mean, it's great to have it to back it up, but we don't need it. Guru Sahib's given it all to us. So much about our diet, keeping a simple diet. You murder other beings for pleasure. In Japji Sahib, countless countless cutthroats and are ruthless killers. Kabir, Khoob Khana, Khichdi, Jama, Amrit alone. Kabir says the dinner of beans and rice is excellent when flavored with salt. Simple. Simplicity. Because it doesn't impact our relationship with Vaheguru. We focus on that ras, on that flavor. The last one here, I don't even think I need to speak that much to, forgetting we're mortal. This makes us have a wrong focus. It makes us think all the time, we have all the time to make things right. How many of you have heard, koi na, gaan ja ke amrit shak lavange. Gaan ja ke seva kar lavange, simran kar lavange. Right? We have the time to do Sikhi stuff. I hear kids say to me, oh, you tell these Sakhis of this horrible person that remembered Vaheguru at the last minute. I'm not going to get into the Sakhi right now, I don't have time. And I'll just do that. Why do I need to do all this? Well, you got to practice for it, my friends. Vaheguru is not going to come to you in that last minute if we don't practice all our lives. Right? It's a prevalent theme in Gurbani. I couldn't even, if I put out Shabads, this would be a countless PowerPoint here. This leads us to make decisions where we don't consider the consequences of our actions. Because we feel that we have all the time, we're immortal. And then underlying to all of it is the 5 constants that someone talked about right at the beginning. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Ankar. This is what we're battling every single day. This is what leads to all these things I talked about. Every second we battle these. We battled them 550 years ago. We battled them today. We will be battling them 550 years from now. That's what Guru Sahib tells us. That's what will not change. So what do we know after today? We know Gurbani holds the answer to everything in the past, now, and forever. Our Guru, our Vaheguru, it's through Gurbani that we communicate with Guru. My son once said to me, he was really young, and he said, wouldn't it be great if Guru Sahib was just walking along and talking to us, and I could ask Guru Sahib questions? Right? We all want that, but we can. We get hukams every single day. We can. This is our communication with Guru Sahib, and it holds all the answers. Things we are cautious against now, told now, realizing now, all these movements where society thinks it's progressing. Right? Oh, we recognize the rights of indigenous people. Yay us. Right? The answers have always been there for us. We're lucky. Following in the Guru's path and ensuring that nothing interferes in our relationship with Vaheguru. Guru Sahib is not saying don't have friends. We are told to meditate, to do all of this. We are living our regular lives, our grith jivan, are living amongst this earth. We're not meant to go sit in a pora and do bhakti. That's not, no, because then we're not exposed to, we're not battling Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and God. We're meant to battle them, to make us stronger, to make us drir. Guru Sahib's word, Gurbani, internally relevant. eternally relevant and internally relevant, both. And we are forever bowing down to him in reverence to him. And that's why I started off with Tu Sada Salamat Nirankar. So I just want everybody to take a moment with me. I'm sorry, I've been not well this week, and so my voice is kind of gone. But I just, this one last Shabad, and sing it along with me. And the Shabad starts off with Har tum vad vade vad uche, sab uppar vade vadona. O Lord, you're the greatest of the great, the greatest of the great, the most lofty, the greatest of all. जो त्यावे हर अपरंपर हर 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 त्याए हरे ते होना जो गावे सुने तेरा जा स्वामी तेन काटे पाप कटोना. Those who sing your praises, listen to them, their sins are gone, they're destroyed. तुम जैसे हर पुरख जाने मत गुरमत मुख वड वड भाग वडोना. The people that follow your teachings, they're the greatest of all too. But the last line, Sab tyavo ad sate, jagad sate, partakh sate, sada sada sate, jan nanak das dasona. Let everyone meditate on the Lord, who was true in the beginning, true throughout the ages. He's revealed true here and now, and he shall be true forever and ever. So if we could just take a moment on that line, and if you could sing after me. And let's just take a couple of minutes to remember Guru Sahib and the relevance and the forever relevance of Guru Sahib. Sab tyavo, sab tyavo. परताख सते आज सते आज सते परताख सते आद सते जुगाद सते परताख सते वाहेगुरु 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 सब त्यागो सब त्यागो सब त्यागो सब त्यागो सब त्यागो सब त्यागो वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
जो गज के बुलावे सोने हाल